Hi, everybody. Today we're going to focus on using our jelly plate to, we're not going to register the colors this time, but we're going to create an overall painting slash with print qualities on this large sheet of paper. So this is an extension of printmaking. I think you should think of it that way. It is a way to use the jelly plate in another way, to use it as a technique to put paint on the surface of your project. And this could be a canvas painting, this could be a painting on cradled board, it could be a painting on any kind of a substrate, meaning any kind of a surface. So because after a while, perhaps printmaking, begins to have its limits. It's always on paper. You may not want to, it may not interest you to keep doing the kinds of work that we've been doing. Maybe what you really want to do is use these printing techniques on a larger format. So we're going to do that today. So let me show you a couple of different things you can do. So one thing you can do is, of course, you can put down a color of paint to start with, to get rid of some of this white space. Maybe not all of it, maybe some of it. So I'm just going to take some of this, this is cerulean blue. You could make your own color, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to squeeze some of this out onto my little baby palette here. And I'm going to get a nice big brush, get some water on it, and I'm going to just apply a sort of wash of color to the background and kind of random. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it, but this is how I like to work. I'm not an artist who likes to do a lot of planning. I like to be kind of spontaneous and allow things to happen. Just feel like putting down blue because it just seems like a nice way to start. So that's what I'm doing now. All right. So while I'm letting that dry, it shouldn't take that long to dry. As you can see, I just got just some very loose color in the background. I do think it's better to start light and work your way into more and more color. And now I'm going to take my jelly and start to do an image on my jelly print. So I'm going to just take this camera and focus down on it so you can see what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to take, let me see, I'm going to start with ultramarine blue. I'm going to keep it kind of in the family and see where we go with that. Kind of a monochromatic thing here. So I'm going to put down my color and spread it around with my brayer. I think I'm going to do something rather simple. And maybe just use my palette knife to create some shapes on here. Do whatever you'd like to do. It's wide open as to what you want to do, but let's just do kind of a subtractive technique here. Subtractive process. So I'm taking away ink instead of adding to it. That's why we call it subtractive. There we go. All right, maybe just a few more marks. All right. So now what I'm going to do is take my jelly. Actually, in this case, I kept on the backing. I kept the plastic that's on the back on it. I don't know, you might be a good idea to do this because it gives you something else to hold on to in the corners when you're ready to flip over your piece, which is what you're going to do next. So we're going to flip this over. I'm going to move the camera back up here. I'm going to flip my print back onto my paper. Let's see, I'm going to do vertical. Let's see, I'm going to start over here in this corner and press down. So instead of putting the paper on top of our jelly this time, we're going to put the jelly on top of the paper. And as you can see, I made a print there, and I'm going to repeat this print somewhere else on this piece of paper. So I think I'm going to go just up here in the corner and let these guys overlap and just kind of see what we get. You know, kind of take a dive off the deep end here, as we say. And I've got that down now. Right? So that's what we've got so far. So I want to continue. Maybe now I take a look at this and say, well, let's see, what else does it need? What else could be fun to do? My light blue doesn't really show all that much. That's fine. You know, maybe that was just kind of a good way to start. I'm noticing that I still have some ink on my plate though, and maybe I want to go ahead and put that in these empty corners just for the heck of it, just to see what, if anything, is still going to come off. I bet you I get some stuff coming off here. Oh yeah, got a little bit off there. And I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. There we go. Okay, so I think I've got all the ink that I could possibly get off of my print. I think it really calls now for some other elements. And I think what I'm going to do now is go into some stamp printing. And remember, I showed this to you a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to get my black ink out here. I just feel like I want to work in darker colors. Got some carbon black. And so for this, I'm actually going to just use, I got this, I'm going to use this for my little pad of paint that I'm going to dip my little end into, my little glue end into, because I really like the shape of that circle. And I'm going to just dip it right into the black paint. And as you can see, I've got some paint on there. And I'm going to see what happens when I start to add, let's see, some of these shapes. Get a little bit more here. And maybe really start to get pretty faint. I'm going to keep the imagery of the circle. And you know, I happen to have a roll of paper here that I'm just noticed is just about gone. So I'm going to use that edge and I'm going to dip that into my paint here. Get a little bit of that so that I can echo the circle that I already put in, but it's going to be a bigger circle. So let's see what I'm going to do with that. Maybe come over from this edge here and print it a couple of times, maybe overlap onto. I don't want to overdo it. I just want to kind of maybe just get a little bit more going on here. Okay, so I think I'm pretty complete with that. What else do I need? Now, some of these areas with the black are quite, they've got a lot of paint on them. They've got, I think, too much paint. And the problem with open paint is that sometimes you get too much paint on there. Yes, it takes a long time to dry, but sometimes it just never really dries and it stays kind of sticky. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very carefully put another sheet of paper down on that and pull up some of that excess ink. I know it's going to make my circles a little different shape, but that actually could be pretty interesting. And the other cool thing is, and this, by the way, this is the freezer wrap, I've got more that I could actually use to print someplace else on my piece if I wanted to do that. So as I said, I don't want to make it too busy with these circles, but maybe just a little bit over here could be really interesting. Yeah, kind of like that over there. And if there's anywhere else I see there's a little bit too much paint, I think I'm going to just do the same thing on that area, just to lift it a bit. I like how the lines sort of squish out a little bit. I think that's actually kind of interesting. So you're printing, but you're not using a jelly this time. You're kind of using paper as a printing surface, which is fine, which is totally fine. Really, anything goes. As I said, I'm not a purist, and I think the object here is to get an interesting image. However you get there, that's fine. There's no such thing as cheating or anything like that. All right, so we're here with this. I'm going to stop here, but I think you all get the general idea. And from here, you know, the sky's the limit. You could cut this up. You could decide to add some more collage areas to it. You could start to really paint into it. But that's the basics of what we're going to be doing in our 5th class, working on a larger sheet of paper.